And it was about collecting the information which allowed that change to happen. So, policy development cycle. This is it. It's 4 things. Now you could read tomes and tomes on policy, and this tells you all that you need to do. Understand the problem. So, government says there's a problem, disaffected youth. They get some people together and they say, well, what's the extent of the problem? So, we start with how many youth we've got, then the classification of normal versus disaffected. They come up with something and they say, we've got a solution. They normally think of the solution and then fit it retrospectively, because that's what a lot of people do. I've got a good idea, what do we find a problem it fits to? Target setting, planning for action, that's key, because in making an investment they need to know how they're going to do it, how they structure it, so milestones and targets, big thing. The only trouble is that people get so fixed on targets and we're all target driven. I came across one with the hospitals, and they had people on trolleys in corridors, and all of a sudden they were going to get marked against that. So they removed the wheels, and they were classed as beds. Not addressed any of the issues here. You know, the need is still there. We're on classification charts, it's a box ticked. And who mentioned it before? You have to do it. But also, I think we've got a set of values which says that rubs against me. Change it. Let's change it. And you'd be amazed at how easy it is to influence policy. I just thought, if something wasn't right, I'd say, excuse me, I think that's wrong. And some people say, tough. Other people say, how? And the speed at which policy gets set, every 12 months, Treasury has to set a budget. I've got a quick quiz on that later, but if anybody knows the answer, it'd be really interesting to see how close we get. But in 12 months, sometimes the way that they do things, it just mind boggles about how they give out money to people. I was sat with someone in DCMS. He's got 1.5 billion to allocate in 12 months, and he needs to give it to people. And there was a certain agency they were giving quite a bit of money to, and they were saying, they're brilliant. I was thinking, really? We've evaluated some of the work they do, and I would challenge that perception of brilliance. And so I said, well, what does that mean to you? How do you define this success? We give them 70 million every year, and we spend it. Give me 70 million. But the reality was there that a lot of people would come to them and say, we've got a project, it's 100,000, we've got a project, it's 1 million. He didn't want that. He wanted to be able to say to someone, someone would take 70 million, they spend it on time, they send them a nice picture, big check, happy children, all the post photos, and that's their marker for success. And I was like thinking, wow, now I know that, how do I get 70 million quid worth of activity to you that is perhaps better? But I'm making an assumption there that everything we do is wrong. So